Hello everybody. I'm Rick Gifford, a sixth grade teacher at Conway Grammar School, and I'm very pleased to read this very important book, an ABC book. B is for Buddha, written and illustrated by Anasuya Heil. Let's begin. A is for Ananda, the Buddha's cousin who became an arhat, an enlightened person, which I think we should all try and be. B is for the Buddha, who was enlightened beneath the Bodhi tree, which I heard still exists, which I think is wonderful. C is for compassion, caring for all living beings, since we are all sad sometimes. D is for the deer park where the Buddha first taught the Dharma. Imagine that to be a rather peaceful place. Deer are so quiet. E is for the mad elephant who was sent to kill the Buddha, but was instead tamed by his loving kindness. F is for four heavenly messengers: old age, sickness, death, and a monk who came to Prince Siddhartha and inspired him to seek an end to suffering. I think that's important because all of us know what suffering is, and we all know how we don't like it. So that relates to compassion in a very important way. Since we don't like suffering, wouldn't it be important for us to end the suffering for others? G is for generosity, giving with a good heart, and also its opposite, greed or holding on. H is for happiness, and its opposite, hatred. May all beings be happy. I is for impermanence, the truth of how all things change. Yes, that's something I feel I've learned in my life, is that everything is ephemeral and temporary. So finding joy in the moments and letting go of them, very important. J is for joy. We should always keep a joyful mind. K is for karma, the law of cause and effect. If you plant a seed of goodness, then goodness will grow. L is for loving kindness, the practice of making good wishes for all people and all living things. And I think that's important because human beings tend to barge all around the world and do whatever they want. And I think including all living things, even microorganisms and small bacteria, are essential to the circle of life. M is for Mara, the Lord of Samsara, who tried to tempt the Buddha when he was sitting under the Bodhi tree. N is for Nalanda, a Buddhist monastery, and one of the largest ancient universities in the world. O is for offerings, gifts to the Buddha, monks and nuns, and all people. P is for the precious human body that allows us to hear and practice the Dharma. Yes, the body is a great instrument which we must use. It is our tool through which to gain enlightenment and to end suffering and spread joy, loving kindness. Q is for questioning. The Buddha taught us to question. What is this mind and body that I call me. I'm always fascinated with the idea that we're constantly thinking about ourselves as this one entity, when in fact, we are a community of individual living things and a host to even more living things. R is for rice pudding that Sujata gave to the Buddha. It gave him the strength to become enlightened. S is for Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha's name before he left his palace to become a monk. T is for the truth. The Buddha taught it brings happiness to speak what is true, useful, and beautiful. And I think about that one a lot because sometimes people say a lot, but they're not really saying something true or useful or beautiful. U is for understanding, realizing the temporary nature of all things and the value of not clinging. V is for Vulture's Peak, where the Buddha gave his teaching on the Heart Sutra. W is for the white elephant in Queen Maya's dream, who descended from the heavens into her womb. This was a sign that she would give birth to the Buddha. X is for the extraordinary mind of the Buddha. Although he was a human being like all of us, he looked deeply into his mind until he realized its extraordinary nature. And so even though the Buddha is an extraordinary human being, it doesn't mean that we can't also too be extraordinary. Y is for the yogis and yoginis who practice meditation and the Dharma. Quieting the mind is a very important thing to know how to do. Z is for the zillions of beings in the universe who, just like us, want to be happy and free from suffering. Well, this is a message at the end that says, may all beings be happy. And reading this book brings me a great deal of happiness because it's a tool through which I can remind myself of what's important in this world. And it's also a wonderful way to learn a little something about the Buddha and his important life and his teachings. So thank you so much for sharing with me this time. And I hope that you also enjoy some other readings. So take care, and thank you again.